What's up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Real Rage Dub here. Well, David, I should say. Sorry for the background here, but today is an interesting video because I was bored and I decided to make it. So let's get on to the video. As you guys can tell from the title, I'm going to be showing you guys how to take apart and rebuild a scooter. Get this helmet out of here. We don't need that for the video. All right, let's get to it. So, first step, people, I'm going to turn this around, and we're actually going to do the back wheel first. So, let me just adjust this camera. Okay, camera is adjusted. So as you can see, the tools you're going to need is a wrench and Allen wrenches for basically the entire thing. So this is just taking apart and reassembling your scooter. This has nothing to do with adding new parts. If you want those videos, you can go on YouTube and look them up. So first off, we're going to start with finding the right Allen wrench. So what you're going to do is just find Allen wrenches until one of them fits. This one is too big. And this one is perfect. So now you're going to take your wrench. You're going to stick your wrench. Oh yeah, you also have to find a wrench that fits the correct size. And you're just gonna hold it here while you turn this one to loosen this wheel. You're gonna turn that one and then hold this like that. So let's get to that. All right, let's get to that. So I'm gonna grab this. And sometimes it's a pain because you have to hold everything together while holding your scooter without it falling. And this is hard. So now I'm going to take it. I'm just going to push down. This tends to be really hard because they can be really tight at times. And as I said before, doing this is a pain because your scooter will fall. And so it's very frustrating. That's why normally doing this with two people is a lot easier. All right, so now I just got it loose a little bit. They're just gonna keep going, keep twisting this. Make sure the scooter doesn't fall. Try to hold it in place. So, and then you just keep on going till it is already apart. So what will happen when I fully take this out is you're most likely going to have a bolt fall off. You're most likely going to have spacers fall out, and a bolt is going to come out. So here's a bolt. Got to make sure you don't lose any parts. You're just going to want to unscrew this all the way. Make sure your hand is under it so you do not lose any of those spacers. Okay, spacer 1 and spacer 2, I have both of them. So now you have the wheel out, and you have your wheel and all your bearing stuff. So you're going to put all the stuff over to the side and make sure you don't lose any parts because they are very important. Next step, we're going to be doing the front end. I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do the front brake because that is pain. But let's get on to the front end. So, I gotta adjust the camera. Oh, don't mind me, just making stuff fall. So now we have it set up. The next step, I'm gonna turn it like this so you can actually see these bolts, is these 4 bolts. So on some scooters, they're the same as the wheels, but on this scooter, it is actually this. You just have to have Allen wrenches that fit your scooter, and I hope you guys do. All you have to do, place it in and twist it so that it loosens it up. So you want to just get them all loosened. Take them all apart. So now they're all loose except for the bottom one, and this one's always the hardest one. So I'm gonna have to take the time and really, it's always the hardest one because for some reason no matter if I tighten them evenly. They're not at a V ever. Now I'm going to be unscrewing every single one. I'm going to unscrew this top one. Make sure they're all loose to where you can basically twist them with your hand. Okay. They're almost, 2 of them are hand loosened. You don't have to pull them all the way out. I just like to be making sure that they're really nice and loose. And all you have to do is lift up and pull out your bars. So this is a little bit different for other people, because for mine, I have an SCS, so it's a little bit different. But next step, which is really hard to see, that's why I'm going to record it like this. You're going to take another Allen wrench, and this is an SCS, so right in there, all you're going to want to do is loosen this bolt. Just keep on loosening it up. You just loosen that as far as you can go. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back up, because it's a pain to loosen that when it's down like that. So you're just going to loosen this up. And you are going to hand loosen it if you can. Which right now I can. So you're going to get this bolt all the way out to where you can basically dump out. There you go. So now I have this bolt that's out, and you just lift up on your clamp, and if you turn your clamp upside down, a little thing right here will fall out of it. So now you have this, and be careful because sometimes it'll fall out because it is completely just sitting there. Just gonna bump that down. This will fall out. So here is the headset, one of the headset pieces. I'm not going to take that out. And then take off the dust cover. And then I'm not going to take this out because this is a pain. This is a pain to take out. So now I have all the parts taken out. I have the front fork and the headset is on there. And then I'm not going to take out the front wheel because it's the same as the back wheel, except it's just on the fork. Clamp is taken off with these all nice and loose. I have the SCS stuff taken off. I'm going to stick this like that so I make sure that it's right. And then I have my back wheel bolt and my back wheel little thingy. I'm so sorry, I don't know my proper thing. And then I have my spacers. So now what you're going to do, we're going to assemble it again. So I'm going to take this, and I did not take out this because this is a pain. So now we have a basic deck and the top headset in there. So first step, you're going to put in the dust cover. Just set that right on top, and don't drop it like I do because it'll get all dirty and then you'll have to clean it. So now I have to clean this. It was already all clean because I did this the other day. So yeah, I'm going to set this dust cover back on there. What this does is keeps dust from going inside of your headset and messing up all the grease and making it all disgusting. And yes, this will wiggle around a little bit. That's just how dust covers are. Just set that on there. And then take your fork and make sure it's facing the right way. Well, actually, it does not matter. But you can also tell, especially with these open decks, that they're facing the right way. First of all, by looking at it. And second of all, you can see the logo like that. You can see, and you just place it, and you stick it up. You hold the dust cover, you just push it up over into the dust cover, and you kind of wiggle it in, and that is on. So now, center it out like that. Make sure the logo's there. And you're going to just slip your clamp on there, just like that. And then, you're going to do the opposite of what we did before, which was take this out, take your bolt out of your little SCS guard and just gently drop it down in there and make sure that it's laying. And you want to have the flat side on top. Now you're going to take your bolt and you're just going to set that in that hole and start slowly hand tightening it. Then you're just going to want to keep hand tightening it till you can't hand tighten it anymore, or it's too far down so that your fingers can't thing. So this will be spinning like that right now because it's not, the compression, which is that bolt, is not tight enough for it not to spin. So now it's too far down. I'm just going to slowly tighten this up. And so now, once you feel it kind of getting tight, you're going to want to make sure your clamp is aligned with your fork, just like so. You keep the front of your clamp aligned with your fork, and then you're just going to want to hold that in place while you tighten it up. So sometimes what will happen, it'll come unaligned. You just have to kind of shimmy it around for it to become aligned again. And then you just continue to tighten it. And you don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose. So you just tighten it until it kind of feels like you can't tighten it too much more. Just like so. There you go. Once it starts making. So now, compression is all done. I made it a little tight, but it'll break in. So, next step is to put on the bars. So this step is pretty simple. You just have to put the bars in the clamp. Make sure that it is pretty much aligned, because sometimes it is not. I can tell you that. Once though, sometimes you have to kind of like wipe this down because there'll be dirt on it and you don't want dirt in there. This one is a little rustic from sitting outside a while back. My friends, just slip it down in there. Make sure it is mainly straight, and then you're just going to want to gently, so you're going to gently tighten each bolt all the way down to right when it's like starting, like right when it catches. So right when you actually have to start tightening it. So just like that. Ciao. And you guys can't see this, but you tighten it down to where it's just catching. I'm going to flip this around in a second so that y'all can see what I'm actually doing. And I know this is not the greatest video. Alright, so I'm going to spin this gently around without letting the bars wiggle. And so now, as you can see, I am just tightening these. If you look at these, those two are tightened to where they're just catching, and those bottom two are not. So, I'm going to gently, you don't want to mess with the bars, tighten that up to where they're catching. And make sure your compression is tight so that when you wiggle your fork and your clamp, they don't adjust themselves, and that your bars and your clamp does not wiggle. If it wiggles, then you need to tighten it more. So now I'm just going to gently tighten the last one till it's snug, right to where it's catching. Then you make sure the bars are straight, which they look to be, but I will check after I tighten this down just a bit more. So tighten them about half each one. So if you tighten them any more than that separately, they'll create a V shape, and if you do that, they have a chance of your bars falling off or your clamp actually breaking. So you don't want to do that. All right, individually turn each one of them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this back around. I'm going to gently set this. You can't be able to see this part, but I'm going to try not to pull up on the bars because it's not tight enough yet. I'm going to set this down on the ground. I'm going to make sure they are straight, which indeed they are. So now I'm going to gently lift this back up. Set this on the table without bumping the bars, just like so. And I'm going to take this, rotate this back around so that's facing you guys. I'm going to keep tightening each one half. So that noise is what happens when your clamp gets rusted inside a little bit. And don't worry about that. You want to make sure that your clamp is tighter than all your other components. You don't want it extra tight, but you really don't want your clamp to be loose whatsoever. So tight, nice and snug is the best for your clamp. Have it any looser than that, then you should tighten it, because it'll make bad noises and your bars are more likely to fall out when they're not tightened properly. So that noise is from a rusted bolt being tightened, and sometimes that happens and you can't do anything about it. So right now I'm getting a V shape, which means I need to tighten this top one and loosen this bottom one. Because if you get a V shape like this, that is really bad. V shapes are the worst to have. So now I'm going to tighten this top one. Tighten these two top ones. And tighten this bottom one more. And then this middle one. And this one. Then I'll keep evenly tightening them. And make sure that it is not a V shape. But you don't want to knock off your wrench like I just did. Because if you don't have that wrench, that's bad. So we have a tiny bit of a V shape, but that's from stretching. So I'm going to make sure that this is as tight as it'll let me possibly go, so that you're getting less V shape, because V shape means bad. Okay, that is tight. That is also tight. Final one is tight. So this is all tight. Now I'm going to flip this back around and redo the back wheel. So mine was making loud noises. That's why I actually had the idea for this video. And I'm sorry this video is long, but it is depth. So that's how it's going to work, people. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some paper towels, because I'm going to clean off the components in the back of my scooter so that my scooter does not make absolutely any noise. Or not noise, so my scooter doesn't feel all clunky because it has dirt in the bearings. I'm just going to clean all the components out, and I'm going to blow through the hole and clean the hole a little bit as much as I can. Clean that all up. Get the inside all nice and good. Just like that. All right. Alrighty, I'm almost all clean, guys. Gotta make sure this is all clean because these are important components. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking my spacer that is like this. I'm going to be wiping it off because my spacer is insanely dirty. Just like this. Just wipe all the dirt off of it. Make sure, this is quite a bit of a dirty job, guys, I know. It is not the cleanest thing. I might make two parts to this, but, okay, that's one spacer. So now I'm going to gently place this in. Just like that. Make sure that doesn't fall out, because if it does, it's bad. Then I'm going to clean off my other spacer. So here's a before, dirty. Now I'm just going to gently make sure everything is clean, because clean components equals better, safer, and better sounding scooter, which is always good. So if your scooter sounds funky, either buy new bearings or clean off your stuff, because it might be dirty. Now I'm going to put the other one in. I'm going to slide this in. Bam. Now I'm going to take the wheel, and I'm going to take the bolts and all that stuff. But first I'm going to take the wheel, and I just clean off the wheel and the bearing, because if they're dirty, they sound very awful. Okay, that's all clean. Now I'm going to gently take this bolt, going to stick the wheel in between the spacers, which the spacers might move. It's just what's going to happen. Gotta get it all in there nice and perfectly. And just stick it through the spacer. I'm going to try to find, yes, there we go. Now we're gonna stick the other spacer in there and align it with the hole. Except sometimes it'll go too far. That will be a pain. And bam, it is through. So now it is through, and we're gonna take this bolt. So I already put the thing through while putting on the spacers, so now the wheel is all in. These spacers are not properly spaced. I need new ones, that's fine. Now I'm gonna just hold this other, I'm gonna hold the Allen wrench bolt. I'm gonna push this up a little bit farther so you guys can see better. I'm going to hold this part of it, put it on there, and I'm going to twist it. I'm gonna hold the other part over here. I'm going to twist this bolt finger tightly back on as far as I can go. So now I'm gonna take this wrench, I'm gonna put it over there, and I'm going to do the same that I did last time with the Allen wrench. With the other one that fits this bolt, I'm going to hold the wrench on this. I'm just going to twist this part all the way in. Keep twisting until it's all nice and tight. So now it's getting tight, and my scooter fell. That's why I was making that face, if you guys even saw the face I was making. So I might have to redo the cant because it looks like it's too much of a V. Stop shaking. When it gets really tight, it's a pain because it wants to fall and you're tightening it. But if you put an arm on it like this, it should not go anywhere. All you do is you just get that bad boy as tight as you need it, or as tight as you want it. Really want it really as tight as possible, because tighter means better, but not in all cases, because too tight means bad. So now this is a little bit wobbly, but that's just from it being wobbly. I can't do anything about that. Now scooter, stop shaking. take it, gonna push it. Okay, it's all tight. Just to double check, I'm gonna angle it. It's more down. Gotta tighten this. Yes, it is tight. Now we're gonna take all of our Allen wrenches, make sure we store them in the right spot. Gonna make sure our wheel spins correctly. Which it does. So that is how to take apart and put together a scooter. And this scooter has shit parts on it, so that's why it makes that noise. But the scooter is fully assembled. Now we can go ride it. So thank you guys for watching. This is a tutorial. I know it was not the best camera angle. I did the best I could with what I had. So thank you guys for watching. Peace and bye.